Welcome back to my page. This is the numismatist, and this is a topic that makes my head explode on a daily basis, and this may make some other people's head explode. But this is things that knuckleheads should consider before taking a blowtorch to their coins. Now then, we're just going to jump right into it here. I'm sure we've all been around YouTube and we've seen the hundreds of demonstrations of how you can take your silver coins and take them into the backyard and get a crucible. Whoa, that gets technical. And then getting the old blowtorch out and letting it rip. Not the right way to refine your silver and refine your copper. I was going to put a video up, but a picture is worth 1,000 words, and this is a Morgan silver dollar being melted down in a backyard crucible, and pay particular attention to the color of the flames going in and the color of the flames going out. More on that later. Here's another creative setup with a little shop and a little crucible and a little blowtorch. Same deal. Let's talk about why we want to melt down our coins. This is a current spreadsheet that I have in my inventory that shows the current values, the spot market values, of the metals that American coins are comprised of. And you can see that there is a price or a dollar amount per gram. Let's take a look at the Morgan specifications. The total mass of a Morgan ideally is 26.73 grams. Of that, 90% is silver, 24.057 grams, and 10% is copper. Now this is pretty standard across the board for all silver coins, and there are some exceptions when you get into the Kennedy half dollars and the silver cladded coins. But the bottom line is the melt value per spot market today is about $13.30. Now, does that mean you're going to get $13.30 if you take a Morgan to whoever buys them? No, you're not, because basically there's a whole lot of investment that has to be made in order to separate the silver for bullion and the copper for copper raw material. And that's a process known as refining, and it's not done with a blowtorch in the backyard and a crucible. In all likelihood, what you're going to have happen is you're going to end up to go we buy gold or we buy silver, and they're going to offer you a under premium based on the current spot value. Usually it's between 20 and 25% under what the spot market is. Now, just taking a blowtorch to your coin in a crucible, remember that pretty colored flame that comes off of it? Well, those are your oxidants. That's things that go off in gas. In other words, you can oxidize silver and you can oxidize copper. The green is indicating a good copper oxidation. It literally boils off, just like you would boil off water. Water in a pot, you raise it above its boiling point and it goes into the next phase, which is a gaseous phase. You could literally boil away everything in that crucible if you kept it long enough and got it hot enough. Now, what you stand to lose by that particular technique, just taking a blowtorch to it, you could lose up to 25% of your silver. That's a fact. I mean, just take a look at the boiling points of it and the slag, which is the solids that form, and the slag of copper. You could lose up to 9% of your copper. Blowtorches can get pretty hot, and they're not controllable, not like a furnace. Silver melts at 961.8 degrees centigrade, and copper melts at 1085 degrees centigrade. What's interesting is the oxides of copper, dicopper, cuprous oxide, and cupric oxide. They melt at about 1232 degrees C, and the oxides of silver melt somewhere around 1326 degrees. So this is what forms the slag, which is going to form when you melt this thing using a blowtorch in a crucible. It also, again, like I said, decomposes into a vaporous state, which you're going to lose some. So Essentially, what you're going to do when you melt this thing down is you're not going to get silver out of it. You're going to just reheat the alloy, create some new compounds, and lose a percentage of your mass. So what is the right method of melting down your coins if you want to separate the silver from the copper, which is pretty much what you're going to have to do? Well, here's a kind of a better way, or a more proper way to try and do this, and it incorporates a controlled furnace that controls the actual temperature of the crucible, and it's mounted on this axle that you can rotate the crucible and literally pour off. The process is called liquation, the separating of melted materials, and basically you would heat the lower temperature up, which would be in this case the silver. It would liquefy, and what's going to happen is you're going to have on the top of this the copper solid floating. Why? Because the atomic mass of silver is heavier than copper, so it's going to float to the top. But what you're going to be able to do is you're going to be able to control the temperature, control the oxidation, and you're going to be able to pour off your molten silver. Okay? And it's a process where you just keep throwing more raw materials in there and pouring off raw silver. The other thing you can do with this, and it's a practice, is to put an inert gas in there, something like nitrogen, to prevent oxidation. In other words, if the only time it really oxidizes and forms these oxidized compounds of copper and silver is when oxygen is present. So if you throw nitrogen in there, booyah, you won't be exposed so much to oxygen, and you'll reduce your oxidation. All the coins that are showing up here as we go through this presentation are coins that I've literally watched people take a blowtorch to, or cook up on their stove, or throw in their oven and try and melt down. They've literally destroyed them. That's neither here nor there, but the point is that there is a process that can be used to refine your metals. And then the bottom line is once you do that, what the hell are you going to do with it? Okay, if you were to take an ingot, okay, to whoever, and you're going to sell it to them, you're going to sell it to me. First off, I'm going to look at the ingot and I say, any metal, silver, could fit it. So you're going to weigh it, but that's not going to really tell you much, because then you got to do precise dimensional calculations. The other thing you would probably have to do is assay the metal. Okay, it's just like back in the gold dust days. Crusty old miner come down out of the hills with his mule and a bag of rocks, and he throws it up on the counter and said, "This here is gold." Oh yeah, well, we got to assay it and find out how much of that rock is gold. They would do the same thing to you with an ingot, not unless it's a certified ingot. Certified ingots can be traced back to the origin, where they're purified to 99.99% pure silver or silver bullion, and they would have to assay it. I would assay it myself, and the process of assay is kind of complicated and requires chemical qualitative analysis. So you're going to pay for the assay, just like you did in the old days. The miners would throw the rocks up there, and the guy would take 20 to 25% to assay the material and accept it. But then you say, "Gee Willikers, numismatist, what do I do?" Well, if you got coins and you don't want to collect them for their numismatic value, just collect them as coins. And then you can take them down to Billy Bob or Joe We Buy Gold, and you can say, well, these are American coins, and anybody with a brain in their head is going to realize, you're going to realize that they're 90% silver, 10% copper. They will. And they will then bargain with you based on spot value of the melt value of the coin, less their premium, of course. Or you can take the apocalyptic point of view for your coins. Monetary system collapses, paper money ain't worth the paper it's printed on, so what do you got? You got a handful of coins, or you got a big chunk of melted metal. You go down to the store to buy a loaf of bread, somebody walks in there with a big chunk of metal, and another guy walks in there with coins, and their precious value are metal coins. Well, anybody who's running a grocery store in those days is going to say, I'm going to take the coins because I know what the hell they are. I have no idea what's in that brick. The other side of it is you could be like the guy who walked into We Buy Gold when I was standing there, and he presented a coin that a We Buy Gold guy was going to give him $27 for. It turned out to be a Carson City Morgan that I bought from him for $1,500, and well, we all know what that puppy's worth right about now. Now, I know this is a strange thought and it probably never crossed anybody's minds, but in your opinion, they may not be perfect because, oh, somebody didn't put them in a slab and send them off to a third-party grader, and third-party grader blessed them and said, these are fine coins. But a coin still is a coin, and one has to look at the history and the beauty of the coin. And you never know, a member of your family would want to have that coin, when you part this life. And if you're waiting for the world to crash and the market values to go down, and all of a sudden you're sitting there with your gold coin that's worth $1,600, well, that was a couple of years ago. Take a look at gold today. Duh. It's like anything else. When everything else goes to hell in a handbag, the value of that coin follows it right into it. And then there's always history. There was a time in our history when gold and silver really weren't worth anything, and a bag of salt was worth quite a bit more. There was a time when silver was worth more than gold. It's supply and demand, boys and girls. If tomorrow morning they start mining the deep ocean floors and happen to picking up these modules down there that contain manganese, copper, and gold, and all of a sudden there's a glut on the market, your gold coins and your silver coins ain't going to be worth no more than copper. And right now, copper seems to be the metal of choice because China's just sucking it up like there's no tomorrow. But like all things, this too will come to pass. But one thing that'll never go away is the beauty of the coin, the sculptor of the coin, the art in the coin. No matter how badly damaged that coin is, you have to take a look at how long that coin was being passed around and how many hands it's been passed through. And ask yourself a very simple question, how well would you fare if you were passed around like that? Nonetheless, it's your coin, do with it what you will, but if you're going to melt it down, educate yourself a little bit. Go back and crack your high school chemistry book and figure out what goes on and how you're going to deal with it and what you're going to lose in the end. That's my spiel. That's all I got to say about that. That sounds like a Forrest Gump thing. This is the Numismatist. Thank you for watching. Send your comments in if you will. I read them. Not that I really care, but I do. Bye.